Right, that's enough from me. I'm sure you're dying to throw some questions out there to Chrissie. Our roving mic, Tara, is there to pass the mic to you. If not, Chrissie, would you be happy to repeat the questions if the mic's too far away? So, yes, if you raise your hands, and then we'll, a lady at the front here.
Does she need the mic?
Hi, I've always been really envious of your high boredom threshold that you talk about. Do you have any coping mechanisms that you could share with us? Because it's one of the hardest things I find in training and obviously in races.
Yeah. Training for me is 24 hours a day. Because training for me is very, very holistic. It's not just about swim, bike, and run. So it's swim, bike, and run, it's strength and conditioning, it's massage, it's physio, it's sleep, and it's training the brain, or it's training the mind. And it's training the mind to overcome pain, overcome discomfort, and endure boredom. And training hurts. Racing hurts, racing is uncomfortable, and training and racing can be really boring at times. And 30K into the marathon is too late to realize you haven't invested time and energy in training, in developing the tools and strategies that you need. And I invested a lot of time in developing my own mental strength. Some of it is innate, but some of it I had to learn and develop and hone as much as I did physical strength. There are many ways of enduring boredom. The first is to endure boredom. And you have to, especially as an Ironman athlete, be able to be in your own mind for long periods of time, and not only endure boredom, but also be able to quiet the voices in your head, those horrible demons that sit on your shoulder and whisper in your ear, quit, 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 this hurts too much, you should quit. You have to be able to silence those. There are many ways in which I do that. So when we talk of this mental strength, it's not only boredom, but it's also enduring discomfort and pain. In no particular order, break the session down, break the race down, and stay in the moment. So, for example, one race-based session I do in the pool is 4100s. If you think of that, if you get in the pool and you think, oh, I've got to do 4100s, it just seems daunting. If you think at the start of the Ironman, oh my God, I've got X hours of racing, it seems daunting. So when I get in for my 4100s, I think I'm going to do 5. Or I'll do 10. Or I'll do 15. And you just break it down. Same in the Ironman. I don't think at the start of the swim, oh no, I've got X hours of racing to do. I think I've got to get to the first buoy. Or even I've got to get through the first 200 meters of washing machine. Then I get to the first buoy. Then the next, then I'm on the bike. And when I get onto the marathon, I never think, oh no, I've got a marathon. I think I've got 4 lots of 10K. Or you could be, I've got to get to the next aid station. I've got to get to my family. Break it down. Play those mind games with yourself. And the same goes for your bigger goal. So we all need a goal. You have to have a goal. And you have to have your own goal, and you have to set it, and you have to make it tangible. You have to write it down. You have to stick it on your wall, on your screensaver, on your toilet door, on your partner's forehead, whatever. But have a goal. But if you're so focused on that goal and you don't have intermediate goals, you're going to forget to enjoy, celebrate the journey that you have. So you've got to have the sessions that you test yourself, that you can then celebrate, or little races that you do that are steps en route to that goal. So break your long journey down, otherwise it can seem really daunting. Music is an amazing motivational tool. I don't use it every session, but I use it in strategic sessions, because you can't use it in racing. So you have to, again, be able to cope with a world without tunes pumping in your head. But there's no doubt music is incredibly helpful. Videos, books, poems, something to inspire you, something to get you out of the door, incredibly important. Race for a cause that's bigger than yourself. Remember that cause and your goal each and every day. Use that to motivate you. I know it motivates me. Learn to endure discomfort. And training hurts. It should hurt. Not all the time. It's very subtle, but you need to do sessions that test you. You need to have sessions that you set yourself or your coach sets you, that you look at and you think, I can't do that. But you try. And surprise, surprise, maybe not the first attempt, but you will. You'll achieve them. And they're the sessions that you'll remember when you're racing, because you'll look back and you'll think, I couldn't do that. I thought I couldn't do that session, and I did it. And when you're racing and it hurts, you'll think back to that session. And I think that that's what got me through Kona 2011, was the knowledge that I'd overcome pain and discomfort before. So I think there's some of the main strategies I use. But there's no doubt training and racing can be monotonous and can be boring, but training is where you need to develop the strategies that you need to be able to overcome it.
Answer your question?
Sorry.
Yes, next please. Just at the front.
Hi, hello. I just wanted to ask you, because you initially wanted to start off on the Olympic distance and did the Ironman distance, and a lot of your peers, pro athletes, good Olympic distance triathletes, are now announced they want to do the Ironman distance. Have you talked to them? What's your thought about it? Have you given them any special advice? Is it because you retire, they are now not afraid to do it, or, you know?
No, you're right. I started off as a pro thinking I would be an Olympic distance athlete. Ironman was something that crazy people did. It really seemed an unsurmountable challenge to me at that point, until Brett threw me into Alpe d'Huez, and I realized that it wasn't so unsurmountable after all. And then he said, do you want to do an Ironman? And I said, am I ready? And he said, yeah. And so off I went. I really like the fact that the Olympic distance athletes are stepping up to the half Ironman and the Ironman. I think they, a lot of them are proving to be incredibly competitive, across all distances. I mean, we only have to look at someone like Leander Cave to realize you can achieve great things on a global level, across the board. And I look forward to seeing what some of the current Olympic distance athletes do. Have they contacted me for advice? Yeah. I have been contacted by a number of female Olympic distance athletes that are looking to step up to the Ironman, and I give that advice when I can. I have no problem sharing any of the lessons that I've learned and the journey that I've been on, and I want to see them succeed. And I wanted to see them succeed when I was racing. You want to race your peers at their very, very best. And I hope that down the line, all my records are broken, because that's the beauty of sport. Hopefully, I've inspired, like others have, the next generation, and I've shown them through my performances that they can do more, that they don't have to settle for running a 3-hour marathon, that they can run a lot faster. So hopefully the up-and-coming Olympic distance athletes and also the existing Ironman athletes will look to me, will look to others, and will go out there and not settle and break my records. And hopefully then, so it snowballs and the sport grows.
And maybe enhances to, as you said before, is it becoming Olympic distance, going into the Olympics, that might even help it more, because you've got Olympic gold medalist in there, and they might be good. Of course, I mean,
having high-profile athletes at Ironman races will no doubt raise the profile of the sport. Having Alistair Brownlee out in Abu Dhabi would have attracted considerable amount of attention to that race, but also long course racing. No, you brought your friends. Oh, there we go. There they are. They've made it back from Abu Dhabi very quickly. Yeah, I've absolutely no doubt that will help the sport to grow.
Gentleman over here.
I don't think I need the microphone.
I've come all the way now, you're going to have it.
I've read from many ultra runners that they've often experienced out-of-body feelings during races and long-distance runs. Many of us have never had that joy. Have you had the joy of a kind of out-of-body experience and just floating along, even, in the most stressful of times?
I have, and twice actually. The first time was at Roth in 2011 when I broke the world record, and it was about 2K from the end, and I was pushing myself to the limit, and I just felt a lightness that I'd never felt before. And I said to Dave Scott, my coach, afterwards, Dave, have you ever felt that your body, I just felt that my legs were not connected to my body. I knew that I was in pain, but yet I felt no pain, and it was a very strange experience. And he said, yeah, he'd felt that too, and it was quite enjoyable not to feel too much pain at the end of the final 2K, because I'm sure it was hurting, and it sure hit me like a truck as soon as I crossed the line. But the second was in Kona in 2011 as well, and I think I almost took myself there, going back to what this lady said. I almost disassociated my mind from my body, and I think that's a skill that I have that's enabled me to be successful. People think that I find racing and I find training easy. I don't, but I've developed this ability to disassociate my brain from my body, and sometimes that's not a very, very healthy thing to be able to do, and I freely admit it's meant that I've suffered from some self-inflicted injuries, because I'll push through pain when I really should have listened a little bit more carefully to it, and been a bit more mature, I think, as an athlete. But definitely when I've been racing, I've just managed to separate my mind from my body, and I wouldn't say it's an out-of-body experience, but definitely an ability to withstand that pain.
Okay, so we're going to have a final question, I'm afraid. Yes, the lady here at the front. The mic's just
I was just wondering if there is a particular piece of kit or or something that you would recommend that age groupers invest in? People with sort of limited budgets, is there something that you would concentrate on above anything else?
The most important piece of kit that you could possibly have is right here, and it's pretty free. Doesn't require too much investment aside from time. It's here and it's here. As many of you know, I raced my first Ironman. I raced outdoors and I raced my first Ironman on a road bike with clip-on bars and my regular training wheels. I was too tight to buy my own tri-suit, so I borrowed from my teammate, Rebecca Preston, wore her second-hand shorts and top, which I still have, and then I wore those shorts at Kona. And I was also too tight to buy a swim skin, so I just wore a swimsuit over the top of the short and tri-top ensemble that I'd cobbled together. So the moral of that story is that I believe that equipment is secondary to your mental and physical strength. I received an email, or it was a tweet from a girl, and she said, Chrissie, in 140 characters, but basically I've only got a hybrid, can't afford a road bike, what should I do? And I said, you train and you race with what you have within your financial means. And some of us are blessed to, to be able to afford, expensive pieces of equipment. So by all means, go out there and spend that money. That's what makes our sport go round. But don't feel constrained or hamstrung if you can't afford the latest and greatest, because sometimes the latest and greatest is not necessary. What's the one piece of kit that I would suggest people have? I would suggest people invest in running shoes that suit them and are appropriate for them, and likewise a bike. It doesn't have to be an expensive bike, but your bike needs to fit you. So those would be the two. And I've got some second-hand shorts if anyone wants them.
Or a subscription to 220, obviously. Yeah.
They're absolutely essential. Yeah.
Chrissie, before we finish, is there anything else you'd like to add?
I know I have to wrap up because the cardboard cutouts are next in line. But I just want to say what a huge privilege it is to be here. And I think that word really sums up how I feel about my career. It's been an amazing, amazing privilege to be four-time world champion, to travel to some amazing places, be coached by some of the best coaches in the world, race against some of the best athletes, to make a sport that I absolutely love my career. But I think with privilege comes huge, huge responsibility. And I take that really, really seriously. And that's why it's very, very important for me to be here today. And it's why it's really important for me personally to throw all my heart and soul into inspiring and encouraging as many people as I possibly can to take up our sport, or just to take up some form of sport, whether it's through the development projects that I do, through the public speaking engagements that I have. So I just want to say thank you so much for coming. Thank you for all the support you've always given me. I really, really do appreciate it. If I could just give one quick shameless plug to something I'm involved in that you'll hopefully hear more about. It's an organisation or team called Team Rwanda. It's the first pro cycling team outside of South Africa, in Africa. It was built out of nothing. A lot of the athletes suffered huge losses in the genocide in the 90s. And it's been a great means of empowerment and is an amazing example of how sport can truly make a phenomenal difference in people's and the athletes' lives. And one of the members of the team actually got to the Olympics in the mountain bike. A documentary's been made called Rising from Ashes, and it basically charts how these athletes have gone from the genocide to racing for the national cycling team. And we're going to have the premiere in London in May. So I've got some flyers, and I just encourage you all to either come or tell people about it. It's the most amazing, heart-wrenching but uplifting documentary, and it's one of the projects that I'm involved quite heavily in right now. So I just wanted to use the opportunity to promote that a little bit, and I do have flyers if anyone's interested. But yeah, thank you so much. All the best for an amazing season this year and beyond, and I look forward to meeting some of you downstairs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Chrissie. That was brilliant.
Thank you.